Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Financial Lit Podcast. I got a very special guest with us today. I'm joined by none other than my very good friend, Michael Binyaminov. He's founder and managing partner of Sentinel Financial. It's actually a life insurance brokerage, and he's coming onto the podcast today to share with us some financial literacy, a little bit about life insurance in general, and why you should be paying attention to these topics. So without further ado, Michael, welcome to the show.
Thank you, man. Thanks for having me on.
So without wasting too much time, let's jump right into it, Mike. Why should somebody be paying attention to life insurance, and what specifically should they be looking at in order to further themselves along some financial lines?
So that's a very long topic. So let's keep everything very simple and straightforward. So the biggest things to look for, let's not talk about the insurance side yet. Let's talk about like just building your financial literacy base. Because you and me were in like the younger crowd, right? There's a lot of really stupid mistakes that people in our generation are making right now or are
Right.
gonna make in the next few years. And I just want to give people some tips on how to avoid doing those things. The biggest one, and like this is such a hotly debated topic right now, to the point where the office of the presidency is even going to probably have to make an executive order about it: student loan debt.
Right.
Right. I'll get demonized for this, but I think one of the biggest mistakes people between the ages of 18, or I should say 16 to 35, like our generation makes, is they take on a crap ton of student loan debt and then try to go for a job that shouldn't even require a degree in the first place, right?
I agree.
I mean, you and me, we met in the world of sales,
Yes.
right? Did either of us need a college degree to work there?
No, sir.
Were we taught on the job?
On the job. Good work ethic, good hustle. You get it. You get done.
Exactly. So I personally will say one of the biggest mistakes that people in our generation make is they take out student loan debt. Now I know, like, everyone's not born into a life of privilege. I know that sometimes you just can't get the scholarships you need. The biggest things I can tell you to do and the ways to avoid it, and these are just hit over the head repeatedly, but I'll tell you from experience. So, I'm 24 right now. I took my very first college class, Nick, at the age of 12
Solid, bro.
at Glendale Community College over here. Took it at
Yes,
12
sir.
years old. I still have the ID to prove it. All right.
Nice.
Paid full price for those classes because they didn't have any scholarships for freaking weirdo 12-year-olds who were taking
12-year-old.
college classes, right? But then I ended up actually, when I was I still went to high school and stuff. I didn't want to be completely socially inept. But when I was in my senior year of high school, I had a solid GPA, got a full ride scholarship to ASU.
Yeah, go Devils, brother.
Yeah,
Love
fork
it.
them, right?
Yep.
So I wish I would have gone there, because I ended up not doing that. I went to a military academy in
That's
Vermont
right.
instead.
That's right.
It was $52,000 a year.
Wow, bro. That's a lot of money.
Oh,
That's
it's more now. It's closer to 60 because of inflation.
Can only imagine.
And that was like 6 years ago, dude.
Yeah.
And so the average tuition, or the tuition when I was looking at it, was about 9,200, 9,300 per year at ASU versus
Right.
52,000
That's
at this school.
That's a hefty jump, man.
Now, I know some people are like listening to this, like, oh, I want to be a doctor, I want to be a nurse, I want to do this, I want to do that. Go to community college first.
Right.
This is one of the funniest things I learned in the professional world. So I work as an insurance broker, like I own my own firm basically. I don't care that people have college degrees. I care about work ethic, just like when me and Nick were in just hardcore sales environment.
Yes, sir.
I think some of the only professions that truly need that college education are just professionals within their field: doctors, lawyers, nurses,
Technical professionals.
teachers. Oh my God, teachers! Please go to school.
Teachers, right?
Yes, engineers. Oh my God, go to two schools
for sure. Right? Yeah, chemistry, biology. These kind of things. Yeah,
exactly. Psychologists, people who do like the softer sciences, please go to school.
Yeah, physicists, get your PhD, please.
Yeah, if I'm gonna spend $200 an hour sitting on your couch, like, please know what you're telling me,
right? Exactly.
Everything outside of that, go to a community college, because nobody cares what the name of the school is that you have your diploma from. Nobody.
I agree. Yeah, nobody cares what your GPA is either. They want to know is did you have the wherewithal to start something and complete it over 4 years? Did you have the ability to overcome all these obstacles and get that piece of paper And that's worth more to say that you can overcome these challenges and this hurdle than what it actually was in. Unfortunately, I've seen that all throughout my career. Nobody really cares where it was or what it's in or what the GPA is. Just, do you have one? And if you have one, now doors open for you, right?
Exactly. And so that's I think personally the biggest mistake people in our generation make is they try going to like these really big sexy schools that have these cool names. Unless you're getting a full ride or like mostly a full ride.
Yep.
The other thing too is when you're taking out those loans, you're going to get 100 options thrown at you. I will always advocate for federally backed or publicly backed loans over private loans.
100%.
Here's a good reason why. So getting a little bit personal, I still have some student loan debt. I'll pay it off probably in the next 2-3 years. But I had roughly about $24,000 in student loan debt. And, in the situation we're in with COVID and everything, and all the memorandums pushed out, all public loans are deferred.
Right.
No interest, no payments needed. They're deferred.
Correct.
All of my private loans, I'm paying on that stuff still right now.
Yep. That's a fact.
So if you, let's say you were in a crappy situation where you were trying to go, let's say you were an out-of-state student trying to go to ASU. Out-of-state tuition for ASU is $35,000 a year.
Yep. It's about 18 a semester. Yep.
And it's expensive.
Yeah.
So let's say you got your Pell Grant, you got your FAFSA, and you got your this and this, and you're still having to pay $9,000 a year. You're paying roughly $36,000 over the course of 4 years.
Correct.
Right? If half of that money is private and half of it's public, I mean, dude, you're probably paying $300-$400 a month just for your Sorry, my chief of marketing
wants
to get in on the interview.
I love him.
You're probably paying $300-$400 in private loans and $300-$400 in public loans, and you'll pay off the public loans way quicker because the interest rate's capped out on those.
Yep.
He agrees.
Yeah.
And so
he's trying to get on the action.
I know, right? So the interesting part of all of this is that this is such a common thing, and no one discusses it in school because it's one of those like taboo topics.
Yep.
Where it's like, we just don't talk about finances. And I don't know, I believe that more light needs to be brought to it, more literacy needs to be brought to it. But that's, in my personal opinion, the biggest mistake that our generation's made, to the point where, I mean, the president we have in office campaigned upon, forgiving student loan debt.
Yep.
We'll see if that actually happens or not. But, I'm not here to get political on anybody, but by all means, like, if the office of the president has to consider it, I mean, it's huge.
It's very huge. It's huge, bro. And I used to work in the financial aid office at ASU for 2 years, and I dealt with students on a daily basis with their financial aid packages, and there's so many scenarios where people just don't, there's only so much grant money that goes out, right? And then
exactly.
you have the ability to have your Pell Grant and then maybe a university grant if you got in, your FAFSA in enough time that money didn't get dispersed to all the students already. And then they're going to package you with a subsidized and unsubsidized loan. They might give you a Parent Plus loan, which is right. And then and if you still don't meet it, they're going to potentially tell you that you're going to have to go find some private money to give you this so that you can cover your tuition. And a lot of the times they'll give you up to your cost of attendance in this loan. And these people are students and they're like, hey, these guys are willing to give me a $30,000 loan. I really only need 20,000 of it, but they take the full 30,000 and it puts them in a big hole to start with, and all of a sudden they have a degree that they need to pay off in, X amount of time. And maybe they're not employed. Maybe, they haven't got a job for that yet. And maybe their passions have changed all of a sudden and they have this huge debt and no ability to pay it off. So I know it resonates with me 100%, bro. I agree.
Exactly. You want to know what the second biggest mistake you can make, Nick?
What is it?
Buying a new car.
Oh, yes. That's a huge one.
So without getting like really far into the weeds of this too, like, you're going to get a kick out of this. So there's like this not stigma. There's just like this like social norm that like car salesmen are just like really like grimy, like just disgusting people.
Yeah.
It's sleazy. That was the term I was looking for. It's not the case, dude. Like, you'll have sleazy people in every industry.
Yep.
Whether it's commission based or not, you're gonna have sleazy ass people. I fully believe that people who sell cars, they're normal human beings. But one of the biggest mistakes you can make, and I went through this several times, is buying a new car. Right? You get off the lot, and depending on the manufacturer, you've lost 30 to 50% of the value of the car the second you drive it off.
Immediately.
So it's like, there's really good books out there about liabilities versus assets. The number one liability is a boat.
Oh yeah, I
The
would
number
agree.
two, the number two liability, Nick, it's big toys like RVs or like ATVs, like all
Mhm.
that stuff.
Sunken
That's
costs.
liability number two.
Yep.
Number three is your car.
Yep.
Because unless you buy it at 0% interest and you put like $4,000 to $5,000 down on it, you lose money on it for the first 3 out of 5 loan years.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're like me, where you drive 40,000 miles a year, for insurance, you're always going to be negative. You're always rolling, like either you're paying it off or you're rolling negative equity into your new one. Like
Right.
you'll never outdo it.
So what would you
Right.
suggest?
So here's a smart way of doing it. 3 things: certified used. Like every freaking manufacturer and dealership offers that now. Go buy certified used, because those cars are usually within one. Actually, I found one that was 3 months old one
Oh,
time.
really?
Like,
Nice.
yeah, so it had 3,000 miles on it. It was like $10,000 cheaper than the brand new one sitting next to it. I couldn't believe it.
Wow.
If it wasn't an American-made car, no digs at them, I probably would have bought it, but it's beyond me.
To each their own.
Yeah, exactly. I just thought it was really interesting. So certified use is your friend, because those cars are, within 1 to 3 years old sometimes. They have a warranty between 60 to 100,000 miles. Like, that's what I buy now. Like, I will not touch anything that's not certified used, because why am I going to take the depreciation first?
Right.
Well, I'll let whoever had the car first hit the depreciation, and I'll go get the good stuff.
100%. Yep.
Right.
Anywhere between what you just said, even up to 3 years, 4 years old on a vehicle, and that was still like one owner kept. It was in very good condition. Like, those are the vehicles that we look for when we try to buy them. I'm definitely not gonna go to a dealership and try to get one fresh off the lot. That is just ludicrous to me. And I'm glad you're sharing it with everybody else that maybe even had that inclination in their head, or they just needed a quick reminder, because it's just dumb to go buy a brand new car and drive it off the lot. It's financially irresponsible.
Exactly. Like, the next thing you want to do is you want research. Like, this is an investment. It's going to be a liability.
Right.
Like, unless you're like you rent your car out for like Uber or Lyft, like you're going to lose money on it. So you want to do some, like, here's a fun story. I was 19 years old. I went and bought my first car. It was a stupid mistake, and the worst mistake I ever made. Like, I was in a tough spot. I just needed a car. I had cash. I know that when I walked onto the dealership, dude, like every car salesman were just salivating, like, oh,
yep, 100%.
Just, oh, go, Nancy, bring me the bib.
You could
like,
just see them coming.
Yeah, exactly. And I was like, dude, I had this big forehead like sign that said, "Sell me a car," right? And I learned. Let's just keep it at that. And so what I tell all of my friends now, and even my significant other, when she went to go buy her car, I was like, hey, research.
Yes.
Like, an hour of research might save you $5,000. Like,
100%.
Come on,
your best friend.
Research.
Right.
So yeah, it's student loans, then buying a new car. The third thing I really think, and this is another hot button issue, is lack of home ownership.
Yes, absolutely. I'm glad you hit on that.
Yeah. So I know this kind of ties into what you do as well, Nick, with like your other side of the business. But like, oh my God, dude, like we live. So for everyone else out there, me and Nick live in Phoenix, Arizona, Maricopa County.
Yes, sir.
It is arguably it's definitely top 5, but if not the number 1 hottest market right now in real estate in the country.
Yes.
And so here's the wildest thing, dude. I see memes about this all the time. They make me laugh, and it's not. I don't laugh because it's funny. I laugh because it's like it's true and it sucks. It's like, a bank won't approve you to get a 30-year mortgage where you're paying like $1,100 a month, but an apartment complex, well, you get a smaller apartment for $1,400 a month. Like,
they'll approve you right away. Yep.
Right. And what's crazy is you can look just back several generations. The number 1 asset in every family is real estate, primarily a single family home where they live in.
Yep.
Right. If I was to tell you, hey, like the baby boomer generation is the wealthiest generation of all, it's not true, but like, that's what people throw out. They're the wealthiest generation of all. It's because they all bought homes. They all bought homes. They kept them for 20 years, and now they're worth 5 times as much as when they bought. That's what it comes down to.
It does. Yeah. That appreciation of their wealth that's stored in that house over time.
Exactly. Like, I mean, if you want to look at assets and liabilities again, like, unless you're like you have rental properties, which you're kind of under, like you're under in value right now. It's a liability. But outside of that, dude, real estate's an asset.
Yep.
It is the number one cash flowing asset out there. Like you can go look at like these real big boys in the business, Ed Milet, Grant Cardone, Gary Vee. They own real estate in their
100%.
portfolio. Freaking Warren Buffett.
Yep.
Real estate.
Yep. And that's this how they're storing their wealth, right? It's not how they made their wealth necessarily, but this is what they're using to store their wealth and keep it perpetuating in these types of, positions.
Exactly. And if you have a real solid like accountant, CPA, you have a really good like tax attorney. Oh my God, dude. You can take advantage. I can never remember if it's a 1035 or a 1031 exchange. It's one of those two terms.
I think 1031
one of them's
sounds
insurance,
familiar.
one of them's real estate. I get both of them confused.
Yeah.
Is it 31 or
I think
35?
it's a 31.
I think it's 31 for real estate. If you can take advantage of a 1031, you're just never going to pay taxes on real estate.
Right.
You keep buying real estate and then you never take the money into your own account.
Yep.
You just buy another piece of real estate instead and you just 1031 it over and over again.
Exactly.
But, dude, you'll never pay taxes.
It's perpetual use. You never took constructive use of it, so you're not going to pay tax on it. And it's amazing that you just said that, because the IVA account works the same way. It's exactly how it works. We're able to leverage it for our acquisitions to keep them in that position so that you never have to take constructive use of it. So it's outside of taxable interests, but it's a whole nother conversation. I just wanted to, it relates,
Yeah. And here's the funny thing, Nick. Smart people, not smart people, wealthy people know that.
Yes.
Wealthy people know that because they can pay somebody to say like, hey, like here's $1 million.
Yep.
Turn this into $5 million. And they go,
Please.
oh yeah. And they'll do it. But people like you and me who, honest to God, we really came from nothing.
Yep.
Like we weren't like, begging on the streets, nothing, but like we weren't like, I took a small loan of $1 million from my, my father.
Yeah, right. Yeah, no. We didn't have that. We're building.
No, God no.
Right.
So, you got to learn these things over time. And the way that you do that is you surround yourself with really intelligent people who have what you want and you just ask them questions.
Yep.
And the other thing too.
Your network is your net worth.
Yes, that. It's a fun buzz term.
Yep.
Definitely applicable. The other thing is like, you just need to self-educate. Like if I told you that you hold in your hand a device that has more processing power than all computer systems in the 1960s that sent man to the moon, dude, you'd crap yourself. If my ancestors could see this phone and I can tell them what it would do, they'd crap themselves. So we use these to look at memes and post gossip on Facebook.
Yep.
So
underutilizing the tools of our generation for sure. We could put these to work.
Exactly. Now, but going back to home ownership, I mean, personal story. I was trying to buy a house.
Yeah.
And I had all my paperwork in line. Everything was ready, dude. And like I just kept getting outbid on homes. And that's because the people who were outbidding me had cash because they realized, oh my God, if I buy this house and I hold it for 5 years, I'll flip it. I'll make, $30,000, $40,000, $50,000 in cold cash.
Yep.
Right.
It's the idea.
Exactly. And like our generation's kind of getting boxed out of it. I read a study from Forbes today, and they were looking at the disparity between homeowners of the, Gen X, the baby boomers, and then millennials.
Yep.
And they said that the millennial generation is just now trying to catch up to the homeownership of, well, it's weird. Like you and me are kind of like at the split between like, we're like really the in-betweeners between the millennials and the Gen X, which is the worst generation to be in, by the way.
Yeah. On the cusp.
We kind of had the internet. We kind of had dial-up. We kind of had this kind of like, but this group is finally starting to catch up to the wealth of the baby boomer generation. And that's because they're finally getting better paying jobs where they can have home ownership.
Right.
But, you look at the struggles of the previous 2 points I made, student loan debt and, car loans plus other stupid loans that they have, it weighs them down. So your income to debt ratio looks like garbage. You can't get a home loan.
Yep. Unfortunately.
Exactly. And it's like, the home ownership is what's going to propel you from being in like the lower class, the lower middle class, to the middle class, to the upper middle class. That's if I had to make like one bold-faced statement, it's that. It's home ownership is the key to everything else.
Yeah.
And so I know some people are going to be like listening to this, like, yeah, preach to the choir. I'll put it this way, man. When you and me first met, I was actually like kind of going through like a down period of my life. I just lost a lot of money on a previous business venture.
Got it.
And so what we met in January 2019 is when we met.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes. True.
I bought my house March 27th, 2020. So a little bit over a year later, I was able to do it.
Nice.
Now, it's not common for everybody. I'm not saying that everyone and their mother can do this. It's very difficult, but I'm saying it is completely possible. Was I pissed off in October 2019 when I went to go try to buy a house and I could, or October 2020 when I went to go buy my house and like I couldn't do it? No. Or October 2019, I tried to buy the house, I couldn't do it.
Right.
No, dude. I just kept, saving money, got my down payment stuff ready. Like,
you doubled down.
Exactly. That's the difference. Some people like to complain. Some people just do.
Yeah.
So,
and that's the difference, bro. I mean, you're kind of built different. You come from the world of sales. You come from the world of hustle. Like, that's what it takes to be successful in these kind of realms. And I wish more people would just believe in themselves and go after it because, that's what's going to make you successful.
Exactly. Now, this is actually a good transitional point for something that like it's near and dear to my heart. Thankfully, I've never had to do it, but I will always advocate for it. It's how you can dig yourself out of a financial hole.
Oh, nice.
So you're going to love this one because this is right up your alley.
Yeah.
So one of the best topics I ever heard, I'm in a bunch of these Facebook groups, and one of them is actually like, it's about financial literacy. Nice. And it's about like, how you can be debt free. And one of the big topics there, one of like the mantra of the group is you can't save yourself out of poverty.
True. That's a big one. Yep.
So for everyone listening, like let's use some nice round numbers. Let's say you make, $3,000 a month.
Mm-hmm.
Your expenses come out to $2,800 a month. So on the $200 you have left over, you're trying to save and do this and do that.
And grow that wealth somehow.
Yeah. You're never going to get anywhere. Nope. Hard truth. You're never going to get anywhere with that.
Nope. You're going to be spinning your wheels.
Exactly. And here's the thing too. People always try to like save themselves out of debt. You can't do that for this specific reason. You're going to try to cut out so many things in your life. You're going to be miserable. You'll be like depressed, and then you're not going to want to save, and you're going to fall into some very bad habits.
Yep.
I went through this myself. Like I actually did what's called a debt snowball calculator. Nice. Which is free. Go on, literally jump on Google, debt snowball calculator. Mm-hmm. Type in like your home loan, car loans, student loans.
Yep.
Credit card debt, like anything. You can type it all in. It asks for how much is like you owe, your interest rate, and then it'll calculate out how many months you have left, or it asks you for the minimum payment as well, but how many months interest you have left. And then it'll say, do you want to contribute any additional money to help pay this off quicker? And what's cool is it'll graph it out. And like, let's say you had $50,000 in consolidated debt. You have like some credit cards, some student loans, your car loan. Throw that in there and you say, hey, I want to put an extra $200 a month paying off my debt.
Yeah.
Instead of it taking, 12 years to pay off your debt, by adding in that extra $200 a month to pay it off, you might be able to pay it off in 6 years, 7 years, 5 years. You'll be able to pay it off quicker.
Yep.
Now, I say this because it really segues into the point I'm trying to make here. You can't save yourself out of it. Like if you only have $200 a month left at the end of the month, you're screwed. You will not be able to dig yourself out of the hole. You won't be able to do it as fast as you want to.
Correct. There's a faster way.
Exactly. The fastest way to do that is to make more money.
Yes.
Now, I know somebody is going to be watching this in the future and go, okay, Sherlock.
Light bulb, right? I need more money to get out of debt faster. But how are you going to get that more money? Like, what are you going to do to position yourself to bring more dollars in is the next question.
Side hustling.
Yep.
If there was one term for 2020, it's side hustling.
Nice.
Or actually, how about this? For the 2010s, it's side hustling. The entire decade. Like it was the
2010 to 2020 side hustle city.
Yep. Side hustle city. Exactly. Yep. Some people will do like fulfilled by Amazon. They'll do the FBA stuff. They'll drive Uber and Lyft and DoorDash food to people and Instacart. Those are all good and plenty.
Yeah, they'll sell Pokemon cards or baseball cards or whatever it is, right?
Well, here's the point I'm going to make to you. There is a market saturation point. There's only so many
absolutely.
Ubers, only so many Ubers, only so many Lyfts, only so many Instacarts, only so many Amazon delivery driver where you drive your own car. There's only so many of those. Mm-hmm. So you either need to start reselling, which I have a close friend of mine on Facebook, and I've been watching him for the last 2 years reselling, and I was like, that's a fun hobby, bro. The dude made like 40 grand last year reselling.
Damn. And that's supplemental, I'm sure.
Yeah, like he has an IT job at a hospital system. He works for Banner as one of the IT guys.
Yeah.
He clears like just under 6 figures from that, and then he makes an
Right.
extra 40 grand reselling.
Nice.
His side hustle makes more than most people make a year.
Yeah, I've heard stories of people doing it just like on eBay or Etsy or any of these things. They're just listing things in their house, or they'll go find something in the store that is locally, sought after, that flies off the shelf a lot, and they'll list it online. Somebody that's not in the state would be able to buy it, and they're just moving things like that at a little margin. But I mean, it's a side hustle. It's supplemental income that's going to help you. One, what are your goals were? Get out of debt faster, or just achieve whatever goals it was that you had.
Yeah, and like the crazy thing too is like I watch what the guy sells. He sells video games. That's kind of his niche right now, is video games and collectible toys.
Nice.
And people buy this stuff, dude.
Yeah.
Oh my god. He went and got some PlayStation 2 games. He bought them for like, he went to a garage sale and he bought like a trunk. It was like basically a big old moving box. It was like $400 he spent on it. There was consoles in there, there were games in there. Nice. Dude, one of the games in there he went and got it appraised was like $900.
Dude, legit.
And like and so like obviously I'm a little bit of a hater because I'm like, damn, if it was that easy, I should be doing it.
Yeah,
so
right.
I comment on his post. I'm like, dude, there's no way someone's gonna pay $900 for this shenanigans. The dude gets back at me, and he goes to like eBay and screenshots like the most recently sold, and they were selling for 1,000, 1,100, 800.
Wow.
I'm like right in the middle, bro.
Right in the middle, bro.
Yeah, I'm like, damn,
man.
So like think about that real quickly. The dude goes and buys some stuff, he flips a profit, and just keeps doing it over and over again. If you told me that you had $50,000 in debt, and you were like my friend Tony, dude, you could pay all your debt off within 2 years, just side hustling, and then everything else after that, you can go buy a house or two.
Very true.
Like it's mind blowing to me. So like my big thing, and like Gary Vee is a huge proponent of this. Gary Vee called it. He said sports cards are going to be one of the most valuable commodities in the next 5 years. And he said this like 3-4 years back.
Yep.
I have friends who just sit there and buy sports cards and trade them on eBay.
And they're probably making some good money doing it.
They do. And here's the crazy thing. They're very successful businessmen already.
Yes.
They do it for the thrill of it.
This is a side hustle for them. This isn't their bread and butter. This isn't what they wake up every day to do. This is supplemental.
It's passion.
Right. That's awesome.
So again, you can't save yourself out of debt. And so like, I'm in the insurance world. We have like a bunch of these insurance groups. We buy leads actively. So my favorite thing is when a brand new agent jumps on one of these Facebook groups and he's like, well, how do I start my business without buying leads? And like all of us just shark attack him and like, well, who do you think you are? Starting a business without leads? What's wrong with you?
Right.
And so it's funny because the same guy who I said, trades like the baseball cards, he's the manager of that group, and he owns a marketing company that I actually end up buying leads from. Really cool dude. He's like, listen, man, when I was in the world of insurance and I was getting started, I didn't have money. So he's like, this is exactly what I did. I went down to the 99-cent store, buy a bunch of brownie mix. I make brownies. He's like, I had it down to a science. He's like, one like little 99-cent pack of brownies. I make 8 brownies, sell each of them for $1. I made $8.
Nice.
700% in pure profit.
Yeah.
Return on investment. He's like, if I do that like 10, 20 times, I have enough money to buy leads.
Wow. And that's a hustle right there. Now, each one of those dials you're dialed in for, because you know, like what it took to get those leads.
And so, I mean, like, then like I can talk about like insurance. Like I'll buy a lead for like $15, $20. I'll sell it for, $1,000, $2,000 in premium that I'll make. And I'm like, wow, look at that crazy return on investment. But, a lot of people aren't cut out for insurance. I'm not going to sit here and say like, hey, come join my cult. Like we're great.
Yeah.
Right. I truthfully don't want any more agents. Like I have enough right now. But it's the same concept where I'm like, if you have the sheer determination, you can do it.
Yep.
Like what I said, like some of the things I said earlier, like, oh wow, like I wish I had a car. Oh wow, I wish I had a job that did this and this for me. The dude just said like he went down to the 99-cent store and bought some stuff, made some food, and sold it on Facebook Marketplace.
Yep. Where there's a will, there's a way, brother. It's how bad do you want it? How bad do you want to be successful? Are you going to do what it takes every single day, these little steps building on themselves when everybody tells you it's going to fail, and keep going to get to that successful part? Because a lot of people be like, man, I don't want to do that. I don't want to go to the dollar store and make brownies and sell them for $1 a piece. That sounds like I got to sell a bunch of brownies to do that. Well, yeah, you do. You got to sell a bunch of brownies to get your first step. And then you can use that to go get something that's going to make you more money, and you build on it and build on it and build on it. And then when you build it from scratch like that, you're going to be a lot more careful what you do, because one wrong move could take you out and start you back over. So, people having the financial literacy to navigate through these things is just key. And that's another reason why we're bringing this kind of information to people so that they can navigate these waters.
Exactly. And I mean, like, there's steps to side hustling, dude. Like, if you don't have a car, you start off with the brownie stuff, you save up, and like the best thing to do from that point is you go down to like Goodwill or Savers or whatever like resale clothing store you have.
Yep.
People don't know what they don't have.
True.
I walked into do you remember I was 17 years old? I walked into Goodwill here in Phoenix, not in Scottsdale, in Phoenix. I walked in, going through the aisles, and I go to the suit aisle because dude, I love dress clothes. And I was like,
me too. Yeah.
Let's see what they got. Went down to the suit aisle. Dark purple, like royal purple suit was hanging on the rack. It was like 9 sizes too big for me, but I was like, oh, this is pretty.
Yeah.
So I went and looked at it, right? Dude, it was a custom suit. And the inside pocket was like somebody's name. Right? It was a Burberry suit.
Dude, nice.
So I was like, oh, I wonder how much this is. It's $2,000.
Yeah.
Brand new is $2,000. It was being sold by Goodwill for $20. Even Magnus is excited about that. It was being sold
She's like, you're gonna list it, right? You bought it and listed it, right?
Dude, no, I was 17. I didn't know what the hell I was doing.
We
didn't have access to like not Etsy. We didn't have access to I don't know what the clothing resale websites are.
You could do them on eBay. You can do them on Etsy. You can do them on a bunch of different things.
I was 17, dude. I didn't have. I wasn't thinking there. At the time, I was chasing girls, right? Like,
For sure.
Chasing money.
At the time, you thought that might have fit you, and you were going to take it home.
Right. I put it on. Like the sleeves were like way down here. Like no. So, but like here, that's the thing, dude. Like if I would have told the person who's dropping this off, who got like their $500 tax credit from Goodwill, like, hey, this is a $2,000 suit. You probably sell for like $400 or $500, and you still get away with it clean.
Yep.
Probably wouldn't have done it.
Yeah.
Like I've watched my friends go into Goodwill and like they'll do like their unbagging YouTube videos.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And they'll show like, oh, hey, like this is what I got from my, my Goodwill haul. And they'll go list it. And they'll go list it at like 700, 800, 900, 1200% margin of what they bought it for. And they live off of that.
And it's like someone will buy it eventually.
Exactly. Once you can build up capital to do that, dude, now you can start doing the same thing. You can start flipping cars. You can start flipping houses.
Yeah.
And I've watched, we probably know 100 people who flip cars and flip houses, and they make a very good living, and they work another job.
Yeah, very true.
And then eventually they're just going to flip houses all the time.
Yeah, once that supersedes the income they have at their employment, for sure.
Exactly. So again, you can't save yourself out of poverty. You got to pick yourself up. There's a few things you can do. You can find somebody who's really successful with one of these side hustles and say, hey, bro, I'm not going to step on like your like little market slice. Like, I just want to know, how did you start? What did you do? Like, can you give me a little bit of like background on it so I can do the same thing, but I won't step on your toes.
Right.
People, oh my God. If you go and you stroke someone's ego just a little bit, they'll give you so much free information.
Yeah, that goes a long way.
Like I've been in insurance. I've had my insurance license for about 3 years now.
Nice.
I've been taking it seriously for about like just under the last year. I have learned more in that 1 year than most professionals will for about 5 to 10 years. And that's simply because I'm surrounding myself with people who are very intelligent. And I tell them like, hey, listen, I'm never going to sell the same clientele as you, but I'd love to learn a little bit.
Right.
Like, why do you do this? Like, what do you say to do this? And like, the things they tell me, I won't make any money on the things that they tell me. Mm-hmm. I'll make money on putting that into action.
Of course. Yeah, absolutely. And big takeaway.
That's another key point too, is like you need to take action.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, we all do it. Like, y'all ever like daydream like in the shower or like right before you go to sleep, like, oh, how cool would my life be if this and this happened? I won the lottery, and it's not going to happen.
Nope. You got to make it happen.
Dreams for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You got to like take the steps to go make that stuff happen.
100%.
So basically, just to sum up what I was saying, be smart about getting student loans. Don't buy a new car. Buy a used one. Try to get a house and side hustle, because you can't save yourself out of poverty. Like, those are the biggest mistakes that people between the ages of so let's call it 16 to 35 make.
Yep.
Is they over leverage themselves. They have I'm gonna get the BMW 720 and all my friends are gonna think, no, you don't.
It's not the way to go, man. It's not the way to go. There's an order to these things, right? To get yourself to a successful position. If you have a goal of where you want to be financially successful, reverse engineer that goal down to baby steps, and then follow those steps into daily goals, and you'll get there. As long as you don't veer off path,
Exactly. And it's one of those things too, bro. Like, go drive your 2012 Hyundai,
Yeah.
right? And when you have the money to go buy your 720 in cash, go do it.
Yeah.
Like,
When my dad always used to say this, he says, can you afford that vehicle? And I'm like, well, yeah, I make this much. I can afford the payments. And he's like, no, 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 no. Can you afford that vehicle? Can you go drop cash to buy that vehicle today? If you can do that, you can afford that vehicle. And if you want to look at it like that, then,
mhm.
it might help you because, I have a 2011 Hyundai Sonata that I'm still driving. It runs great. I love it. It gets me from point A to point B. I don't need anything flashy. But eventually, I'm going to want something better and bigger. And when I can afford it, you'll see me driving it. Right.
Exactly. Because until that point, dude, like, what is it? I think they did like they took a picture of Bill Gates driving into Microsoft's headquarters. He was driving in like an old Toyota.
Nice.
He was in an old Toyota Corolla. He's like,
Yep.
I don't care, bro.
Yep. Probably in jeans and a t-shirt too.
He wasn't, and that's another thing too. I mean, like, I read like a lot of like these, I call them rich people books and
Yeah.
listen to rich people podcasts, but it's like
Right.
the thoughts behind like Elon Musk and Bill Gates and people of that nature. They all say some really interesting stuff. Like Bill Gates literally wears jeans and a t-shirt.
Mm-hmm.
And when people ask him why, he's like, it's just one less decision I have to make a day.
Yeah. He's like, I made this decision one time 5 years ago, bought all the clothes
Done.
for it. Now I don't have to think about it anymore.
Dude, I do that in my day-to-day life now. Like, you want to know what I wear to in home appointments? Some people like to wear like a shirt and tie and like look all sexy and suave. No,
Yeah.
I have 15 polos
Nice.
and 5 pairs of jeans.
Legit. And they're only going to see your top half anyways.
No, I'm still doing
just
face
kidding,
to
bro.
face
I'm just
a lot
kidding.
of the time. But like, it's the same concept, dude. Like, I got a bunch of like branded polos. Like, I'll go walk in and wear that. Like,
Yeah.
it's one less decision I have to make a day. And when I first heard that, I was like, that's the stupidest thing I ever heard. And then I started to like manage agents and I had like all this other administrative stuff. And I was like, you know what, dude? I'll do the simple thing.
Yeah.
I'm so much happier now.
It makes sense. Free
It
up brain
does.
space for something a little more important.
Exactly. That and I used to think like that was like one of those just like millennial buzz terms, like, oh, you want to free up brain space. No, no, no. It's a real thing. Like,
No, that's definitely a real thing. You only got so much in between here. You got to allocate it properly.
exactly. When you're running and gunning from
Yep.
like 8 a.m. to 8 p.m.,
Yep.
like doing your job, your side hustle, family life, you got to play with the dog so that he doesn't like go crazy, right? Like, dude, by like there are days by like 9 or 10 p.m. where I'm sitting there and like I just don't process anything anymore.
Yeah.
Like,
You're sitting there
what?
scrolling on your phone, just like, I need a break.
Dude, exactly. And I'm like, oh, I wonder what these Kardashian folk are up to today, right? Like, 'cause I'm like, I need something that's mindless.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
Something mindless for the moment.
exactly. Like the more that you jump into like hardcore sales or you jump into trying to like make yourself more financially literate, you're gonna need an outlet. And that's actually another really good topic. You need to like I read somewhere it was like you need to do 3 things to have a happy life. You have to have something that makes you money. You have to have something that you're passionate about. Something that makes you money, something you're passionate about, and something that's gonna like you're just gonna have just enjoyment from, pure enjoyment.
Nice.
Like it's just fun.
Right.
Right. And if you can make all 3 things what you do for work, you're gonna be the happiest guy in the world.
Yeah.
Um,
Sure. Triple crown right there.
Exactly. It's like people who run like a nonprofit charity and they make like they're at the poverty line.
Mm-hmm.
They're some of the happiest people you've ever met.
Yeah, it's true.
They don't have jack.
It's strange to
some of the happiest
see.
people you meet.
Yeah, it's actually kind of phenomenal when you meet them and you see that they actually are genuinely that happy. And it's like, yeah, how? But then, the priorities are different.
And it's like, dude, are you on like Xanax 24/7? Like, there's no
This can't
way.
be real, right? This is.
But yeah, dude, they're like 60 years old. Sometimes they still have dark hair like me. They're not all great. I'm like, dang.
Sharp cats. Some sharp cats. Yep.
So I don't know, man. Like that's kind of where I stand. And I think like, I joke with my girlfriend. I'm like, hey, like, one day when I finally retire, I'm gonna go teach a community college class. And it's gonna be like intro to entrepreneurship or something.
Oh my goodness. That'd be the greatest way to give back to your community, brother. Let me tell you.
100%.
Yep.
And I joke with her. I was like, hey, like, what's gonna be funny is like the semester long exam is gonna be we're gonna make an MLM and see who can make the most money from it, right? But that's another topic. But like seriously, there needs to be a class on like entrepreneurship and not falling into a debt cycle.
Yes.
Those need to be two topics that are very heavily identified and taught. I think those need to be taught versus a foreign language. I know all the foreign language teachers I've ever had in my life are probably going to burn me at the stake, but like, I'm not saying that you're like, it's one or the other, but like it needs to be in the same sort of importance because
yeah, and I wouldn't even say one or the other. I would just say this is something you learn first and then go learn that, because this is important for your, growing up in America, your day-to-day life. This is the crux of what's going to happen to you financially. And if you want to learn another language, do that. That's great. Just do it after you learn this stuff.
How about this one, Nick? When you were in high school, you had to go take 2 years of a foreign language, right?
Yeah, I took Spanish. I'm Mexican. Thank you very much.
Yeah, I took German for 2 years.
Nice.
Love the class. Ask me how many times I've used German in the last 8 years since I've taken that class.
How many times, Mike?
Once, actually. I had a German-speaking client. That's not fair, right? Like, but it would have been zero.
Yeah.
Right? Like,
would have been zero. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. It's like they force us to take these foreign languages, and I understand like Americans, we have the stereotype where we only know one language. I know Russian is my first language, but I have immigrant parents.
You're right.
I have an advantage here.
Yeah.
So there's a stereotype like, oh, Americans are uneducated. Dude, there's a reason why everybody in the world wants to come to America.
It's true.
It sounds very arrogant, but there's a reason why, and it's because there is something like in the lifeblood of Americans that just it breeds ingenuity and resilience and entrepreneurship. And if those same traits were taught to people in their most formative years, between like 6th grade to freshman year of high school,
yes.
Oh my Lord, we would have significantly less people in college, which I'm all for.
Me too.
We'd have significantly more innovators.
Yeah. It would put us back on track to be a great building nation. We'd be producing things. We'd have more entrepreneurs producing things. It sucks when you have a generation of people like millennials who think that the best way they can make money or get famous is to be an Instagram influencer or to post pictures all around the world and they'll get monetized off that. Okay, that's great, fine. A few people can do that. There can be people that follow you doing that and you can make money doing that. But think about it. Let's play it out. If every millennial is trying to do that, if everybody's striving that way, you're not producing anything for the nation. You're not increasing the GDP of the nation. You're not moving the ball downfield in the right way. And it only takes so much people doing that over so much period of time for something to kind of collapse or crumble, within our generation. We need people to understand this kind of literacy. We need people to, because obviously our generation, we are going to be the next decision makers of this country, right? Mm-hmm. So as we're there, if we don't have financial literacy or we're not striving to be the best of the best of the best, then it looks bleak, in my opinion.
Exactly. You know what? You actually just like threw a thought in my mind. It's really scary that one day senators, Congress people, the president, judges, all are going to come from our generation.
Yep.
Who got screwed over on like student loans and buying cars.
Yep.
And they lived through COVID and
right.
It's crazy to think about, like, in 30, 40 years, these same people who are going through the same struggles as us are going to be like in positions of power. And I don't know what platforms will exist in 40 years, but I'll make you a bet right now that we're going to have the exact same issues in 30 to 40 years.
You're probably right, brother. I would agree with that. Yeah.
I don't want to be right. I want to be wrong. I want to be very wrong.
Yeah.
I want a nation of innovators. I want a nation of free thinkers. I want a nation like where Common Core isn't a thing. But
yeah, I agree. I would love to help build that nation and teach as many people as possible to help go towards that mission goal as possible, brother. But it's one at a time. And fortunately, we have the internet, because doing this in person one at a time is great. That's how you make the best connections. But having the ability to go viral and then have people come in to the system and learn from that way only benefits us. So I just think that if people have this in their head or they want to, learn along these lines, they should just keep tuning into your channel, tune into my channel. We can keep putting this kind of information out for people. I know that we were talking about doing something of a video series where we keep putting you back on the podcast and you can hammer into some of these topics that people are going to want to know more about. We talked about a few things today that, kind of high level, but there's so much more information that you have in that brain. And I want to pull it out and give it to as many people as possible.
100%. Like I truly believe, like, I'd love to be back on here again because there's definitely some more like advanced topics I want to talk about. Like, in the insurance world, there's a really big buzz term right now called IUL. It's an Index Universal Life. Definitely needs to be addressed because there's a lot of dissidence among the world of insurance professionals about that. Definitely want to get into a topic later on as well. It's a theory called infinite banking concept.
Love it.
It's something that I'm gonna be doing with your group here soon, Nick. And it's literally this concept where you don't have to ever use a bank because you're gonna have the cash value to just bank on yourself instead.
Yep.
I know somebody listening to this goes, "How the hell is that possible?"
Yeah,
These
right.
people have been doing it for generations. It's just normal people like us are starting to finally figure out how to do it.
Yep. It's a 200-year-old strategy that you just don't know about, essentially.
Exactly. It's like not a well-guarded secret, but like you had to have somebody who is intelligent and on payroll to explain it to you.
Yep.
I don't know. I believe in giving the exact same knowledge to everybody.
Yep.
I want to be, Prometheus giving man flame, giving man fire, right?
Right.
Like that's what I don't have a god complex, but like that's kind of what I want to be able to do. Like I want to be able to say, like, here's the information,
right.
Do what you will with it. But I believe everyone needs to be on the same playing field.
Agreed. 100%, brother.
Yep. Anyway, that's what I had, man. If you have questions, like I'm happy to run through them with you.
Yes, sir. Well, we will save those for next time because we're running out of time here. In the interest of everybody's time watching this, we're at about an hour and 9 minutes right now. We're going to break down a couple other video series, and I'll cut some clips from this as well so that we can digest these into the people's brains. But thank you so much, Mike, for coming on the podcast. I appreciate every time that you give me for this purpose. And we're going to spread this information to as many people as possible. So without further ado, I would love to end this on a positive note. Do you have anything else to share with the people?
No matter how bad you think your financial situation is, there's always somebody worse out there. B, you can dig yourself out. There's ways of doing it. All you got to do first is take action, decide that you are going to change. That's the number one step. You just take action.
Boom. That's big time, brother.
Thanks, man.